Hey guys, what's going on? You're listening to Sit Down with Stand Ups. I know I usually just go straight into the episodes every week, but this week, Robin Williams passed away, as you all know, and he meant a lot to me. He was one of my favorite comedians. And I know there's a bunch of tributes and stories going around the internet right now, but I just wanted to quickly share my story of when I met him in San Francisco. And he could have been like the nicest guy ever, really. But really miss him. He was one of my favorite comedians. And yeah, one day, it was a couple months ago actually, like end of May, and me and my buddy Chris, who's my roommate, decided to go see Mort Saul at the Throckmorton Theater in Marin County. And yeah, we had no idea Robin was going to be there. And we go to the theater, and Mort Saul, who's a legend, I love Mort Saul, and we were going to go see him. We were really excited to see Mort Saul, and he performs there every week. And he just picks up a newspaper and he just goes off on the topics for the day. Like he'll just riff on whatever's going on. So every week it's totally different. And we get there a little late. We hit traffic, and we're like, oh, will we get in? Because it's a really small room. There's maybe only 20 people who can see Mort every week, and the rest just have to like kind of sit on the like sidewalk or street and watch him through the window. And we get there, and there's two seats left, just way in the back. And we go, Chris and I, we sit down, and the lady runs over to us, and she's like, "Oh, you guys can't sit there. It's reserved." And we're like, well, "Who's it reserved for? Who's gonna come see Mort Sal? There's nothing on the seats. Can't we just sit here?" And she's like, "No, you guys like have to go right now." We're like, "All right, jeez." So we go outside, and we're watching him through like a little door crack, and we're seeing Mort Sal through a window, but it's still fine. We can hear him, and he's just really funny. And then this car pulls up, and two people get out, and they start walking towards the seats that were reserved. And I'm like, "Oh, that's Robin Williams." And he just sat down right next to us. He's literally maybe like two seats over from us. And I'm like, "Chris, look, it's Robin Williams." And so for the rest of the show, Chris and I are just looking at Robin the whole time. We just completely forgot about Mort. We're just listening to Mort, and we're just like watching Robin and laughing at him. And he's just, we're watching him laugh at Mort, which is amazing. Like, how many times do you get to see Robin laugh at a comedian? He's usually making everybody else laugh, but we're just like totally starstruck. And he was just so quiet. Like, he kind of just snuck in and sat in the back. Like, it wasn't a big deal. Nobody else saw him at all. He just wanted to sit down, and he was really, really respectful to Mort's show. And he just came and sat down. And he even would cover his laugh. Like, when he would laugh at something, he would like sort of muffle it and like put his hand over it. And he just wanted to be really quiet. And it was so strange to see, because he's such a presence when he comes out on stage, when you see him on TV or in a movie. And he's just kind of like a really frail and like just little guy. He's really small. He's like one of the only celebrities that's my height, probably. He's like 5'5". And yeah, he just came and sat down right next to us, and he's just really quiet and calm and just sitting down and watching Mort. And Mort finishes his set, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go shake Robin's hand. Like, there's no way I'm gonna miss this." And I'm holding Mort Sal's record too. I'm here to like meet Mort. Like, I love Mort Sal, and I got two of my favorite comics in one day, which was amazing. But I go up to Robin, and he's in the house, and everybody sort of right when they got up and turned around and saw him, just sort of like, bombarded him and went around him and started taking pictures with him and stuff. And I waited like a little bit to see if he was gonna hang around, and he was hanging around. So I went up to him and I shook his hand, and before I even said anything, and I walked up to him, he was like, "Oh, hey, boss," in that voice. And he's just like, I'm a nobody, just this kid, and he's just like right away really friendly. He put his hand out, shook my hand, and um, I didn't even know what to say to him. I remember that his his DVD I got was 2001 Live on Broadway, and I got that like in fifth grade or something. I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, and that was one of the first comedy albums that I've heard or saw. And I didn't even know what stand up was. And I told him, I said, that changed my life. That album, and watching you do that on stage. I would do that golf joke that he would do from that record to all my friends at school, and it was that record, George Lopez's Why You Crying, and like Eddie Murphy Delirious were like the first 3 stand-ups I've ever saw. So I told him that, and he was like, "Oh, thank you very much, boss. Thank you." And I also told him that I worked at the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, and I only told him that because I read somewhere that he like helped design that club actually. And it's one of the most unique comedy clubs you'll ever see because it has like a museum display case of everything. It has, Lucille Ball's dress, Buster Keaton's hat, Jerry Seinfeld's puffy shirt, but most of the things in there are actually Robin stuff that he gave to the owner, Mike Lacey. And there's the, Bicentennial Man robot. There's all his clothes from Popeye. There's a bumper car from his movie Toys. And I told him, I was like, "Hey, I worked there and I was watching over your stuff, making sure it was all good while we were there. We'd see it every day. I would stand by your Popeye costume every single day." And he's like, "Oh, Mike Lacey, the owner, is a great guy, great man." And, and then his wife was there. And I asked him if I could get a quick picture with them, and I pulled my phone out, and his wife was so nice. She was like, "Oh, you don't want to take a selfie, do you?" And I was like, "Oh, no." And then she took it for us. And, it was just really amazing getting to meet him, and I thanked him a lot. And he just went into the back room and was waiting for Mort. And I was also waiting for Mort, too. And, I remember he was looking for Mort. He was like, "Oh, where's the boss? I'm looking for him." And, he's just a great guy. And Mort was great too. I waited for Mort, and Mort's, he's up there. He's like 80 something, and I had my record with him, and I said if he could sign it, and Mort signed it, and he's like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Aryan." He's like, "Oh, what kind of name is that? Is that a Persian name? Are you Iranian?" And I was like, "Yeah." And like, this guy knows everything, this guy's probably read every single newspaper since 1947. So I was like, "Wow, yeah, I'm Iranian." And he's like, Mossadegh? And I'm like, "Yeah," which is the prime minister of Iran, in the 50s. And he signs, really slowly. He writes, "For Aryan." And then he scribbled something, and I was like, "Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Saul. It's such an honor to meet you, and I love your work and everything." And I go out, and I see Robin go in, and as I come out, and I heard them laugh like right away. But as I got in my car and I looked at the record, it said "For Aryan," and the scribble read "Long live Mossadegh." He forgot to sign his name at the bottom of it. So I have a record that Mort Sahl signed, and only I will believe he signed it. Nobody else will believe it. But yeah, anyways, that's my story, how I met Robin. And it's just such a shame because there'll never be another actor, comedian as good as him ever. I can't imagine another comic could do what he did on stage ever again. And we're gonna miss him. I mean, I saw Flubber was the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater. I was like 5 years old. I think Flubber, I saw it at the United Artists Theater in Vegas with my family trip to Vegas because there's nothing else for a 5-year-old to do in Vegas. So my parents took me to go see Flubber. And then, Miss Doubtfire and Patch Adams and all those other movies came out, and Aladdin, of course, and Dead Poet Society, and Good Will Hunting, and everything. So, that's just my story of how I met Robin and how, he means so much to me. But we're going to go into this interview. You're going to love this interview. It's hilarious. Barry Rothbart is one of the funniest guys, and we couldn't meet anywhere. We couldn't meet at my house or his house, so we had to meet at his diner. And we went inside, and there's, diners always have music playing, and we sat in the back kind of by the kitchen, so the plates were like clanking around, and my microphones pick up every noise. So we did a little test in the back of the diner. Didn't work. So we actually recorded this entire interview in the side street of a diner next to like a construction site. So I thought it was going to go terrible, but it actually came out to be like one of the greatest sounding episodes I think thus far. And so, who knew the acoustics of an alley are superior for podcasting. But Barry Rothbart's really funny, really talented guy, and I hope you enjoy this interview. Hey guys, guys, what's up? You're listening to Sit Down with Stand-Ups. This week I got a very special guest. He's been on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson, Conan, and The Wolf of Wall Street. My guest is Barry Rothbart.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
How are you, Barry?
Good.
How's your day going?
You're missing some credits. You've done all of them.
Go through.
Punked.
Punked, that's right, yeah.
I was on Cash Cab. Remember that game show?
Were you a guest on it?
I was, yeah.
That's awesome. How far did you get?
I won.
You won? Wow.
I won, yeah.
That's incredible.
I won like $700.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was one of the coolest moments I had ever in my life.
And how was Punked?
Punked was great. I got fired. I got fired from Punked. Yeah.
Why?
Well, they give you like an NDA, which is like a do not disclose. Like you can't tell anyone you're on the show. And I signed with a new agent when I was on the show, and they like made an announcement. Wait, we should mention that we're at a diner.
Yeah, we're outside of a diner right now, and
yeah.
Tony Hawk just skated by real quick, so there's gonna be some noises.
Yeah, Tony Hawk is just so annoying
in
this
ripping
area.
It.
Oh, it's like, we get it. You're a skateboarder, man. Yeah, I got fired because my new agent posted in the Hollywood Reporter that I was on Punked, and they were like, "You can't tell people," and like people called Punked. Were like, "I'm gonna look out for this guy. He's never gonna get my clients." Like other managers.
And how
so I got fired.
Did you think you were getting punked when you got fired, or was it bad?
No, it was just really sad. And really,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, though.
But you also did the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was, what, last year or a couple years ago?
I did that 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
It was my first late night spot, and I mean, yeah, it was amazing.
That was a great set, too. I loved it.
Oh, thanks, man.
It was really funny.
I appreciate it.
The dancer bit that you do.
Yeah, that's a really popular one. It's funny, like I look back on it now and I'm like, I feel like I've changed so much. Like you look back at old sets when you're a comic, and I don't know how long you've been doing it, but you kind of look back at some older sets and you're like, man, what the fuck was I doing? Even though other people wouldn't notice anything, they'd be like, oh, that was great. But you're just like, what did I do with my hands? Why did I do that? Why was my hair like that? What the fuck was I doing?
Just check every detail, like back again. Yeah.
Can Baron Vaughn come over? Do you know Baron Vaughn?
Oh yeah,
comedian. Baron, come here for a second.
Hold on. You know Barry Rothbart, right?
Baron Vaughn just walked up.
I'm walking down.
We're doing a radio show.
And Barry Rothbart's doing a radio interview. I'm on the phone with Phoebe Robinson.
No!
Yes, actually, I know you.
No way. Yeah, she's the worst. Stay away from her.
You're doing a radio interview?
Yeah, Baron Vaughn. You might know him from.
That explains these condenser mics.
I saw you at the Punchline in San Francisco.
You did?
Yeah, like 6 months ago or something like that. Or you last year?
I was just there last week.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so
awesome.
So you actually saw Phoebe then, because Phoebe was with me.
No, I saw you in. Oh gosh, last year when I was in college up there.
Oh,
I forgot.
It doesn't matter. I don't remember when Phoebe was last with me.
An appearance by Baron Vaughn.
Yeah,
this is
awesome.
huge.
Phoebe Robinson on the phone.
What are some of your credits? What?
Oh, some of my credits. I've been on Conan.
Conan. He's been on Conan.
I was on Ferguson.
He was on Ferguson.
I was on Comics Unleashed.
All right.
I was in the movie Black Dynamite.
All right, that's all right.
Nice.
Cool. Baron Vaughn, everybody.
I was in Cloverfield.
No, that's enough, man. I think it's over. All right, thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, this is fun.
I was in the Kings.
All right, Baron Vaughn, everybody.
I'm currently playing Kumail Nanjiani on Silicon Valley.
Okay.
You may have seen me as Barry Rothbart in The Wolf of Wall Street.
All right, see ya.
Wow, that was awesome.
You never know.
Hilarious. Yeah.
You never know. See, that's why all of your episodes should be here.
Just
because you never know what comics.
Yeah, somebody just walked by.
Baron Vaughn.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's always around here. I don't know why. I feel like he was faking a conversation on the phone. He's the type of guy who would do that.
And then show up on somebody's podcast.
Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, he'll retweet it now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you got to put him in it.
Just have comedians walk by.
Yeah, the Tonight Show was amazing. And I actually, not a lot of people know this, I had 2 vodka tonics before I went on stage.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Just to relax?
Just to relax a little.
That's awesome.
I'd never been on live TV. I think the fear that goes through your head when you're on live TV is you're just going to forget what to say.
Right.
And then, like, what do they do? Like, you're not going to redo it.
You can't edit it. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not live, but still, like, you don't want to be the guy who fucked up your set, you know? It's like one chance.
Did Jay come out and talk to you, like, before?
He was so cool. Jay is the coolest dude.
Yeah.
People don't... I feel like he gets a raw deal because I think his audience is a little older, and he's not as, like, cutting edge as Conan is, but he is the nicest.
He got a real bad
funniest
rap
dude.
with Conan, and like I worked at the Comedy Magic where he performs every Sunday. Nicest guy, like
nicest guy, and it was not his fault what happened.
No, yeah,
people don't realize
television.
that. I think people are like, you retired and then you come back. He didn't retire.
Yeah.
Like, that's the crazy thing is, like, he at some point was told, like, remember when Conan was huge, like, in the mid-'90s, late 90s? Like, everyone was watching Conan when he was in New York.
Late night, yeah.
Late night. And they were like, Conan, you're going to take The Tonight Show. And Jay was like, I don't want to leave. And they were like, you're going to leave. And then Jay's ratings, like, went crazy. And they were like, fuck, we promised Conan The Tonight Show.
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, all right, I guess we have to give it to him. And Jay was like, what do I do? And they're like, well, we're going to put you on a different show. And they fucked everything up, and it was a big mess.
It was all NBC's fault. It wasn't.
Of course it was NBC's fault. Yeah.
Did he come and say like something to you before you did your set, or?
Jay was like, that guy loves stand-up more than anyone. And he actually spent a ton of time with me in the dressing room beforehand and when I was getting makeup, just shooting the shit about stand-up.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard he talks to comics like all the time, like right before they
talk to
show.
comics? We're good, thanks.
Thank you.
Because the waiter came by. Yeah, he talks to comics all the time, and he was just the nicest
What did he say to you, like, before you went?
What things
was this mid-vodka gin and tonic, or?
Oh, yeah, they're totally fine with that. They're like,
awesome.
yeah, they were like, don't get drunk, but, like, if you want one or two. Because it's so strange. Like, doing late-night stand-up is so strange. Like, you have to...
It's at 4:30 in the afternoon.
It's 0 to 60, because no one has done stand-up on the show before. Like, a monologue is not stand-up.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, this guy you've never seen is talking about his life. It's, like, very strange.
So who was on before you, the guest?
I was actually, it's funny that you say that, because I was supposed to do couch time. I was supposed to actually talk to Jay on the couch after my set, but they didn't have time because Zach Levi, who's the guy from Chuck, I don't know, Zachary Levi,
yeah.
He did this long story that kind of went nowhere, and I was so pissed because he went long, so I couldn't do couch time afterwards.
Oh, dang.
We had, like, the whole thing worked out where, Jay, like, went over what we would talk about.
Right.
And then he goes long, and I was so mad. Like, Jay brought me over after my set.
Yeah.
If you watch, like, I think there's a cut on my website of me being brought over, because, like, the internet clip that NBC has doesn't have it, but the cut that I found has it, and I come over and I slap Zachary Levi in the face a little bit.
I saw that, actually.
Like, kind of like a little slap, and he goes, he gets, like, really mad, and I was just, I don't know, it just, like, came out. I was, like, mad at him.
I thought you
just
knew
like
that
in
guy.
the moment, I just slap him.
You no idea who he was?
No, and more people spoke about that than, like,
that
my
was
set.
So funny.
They were like, did you slap Zachary Levi in the face?
It was like a playful, like, hey, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah,
it was so funny, yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
That's hilarious. So did Jay say any, like, words of, like, encouragement or anything, like, before, or was he just hanging out?
No, he was just, like, he thought it was so cool. He almost thought it was cooler than I did. That it was, like, my first Tonight Show.
Really?
He was just like, this is such a big moment, man. Your first Tonight Show. Like, this is, like, every comic has this great moment before they go on stage. Yeah. And it's going to be amazing. Like, he just was, like, living vicariously through me. But he's, like, really funny. I don't remember exactly what he said. There was no, like, advice.
He was just talking, yeah. Have you seen his set before? Like, his stand-up?
No.
You should catch him at, like, Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa. He kills.
Oh,
like, he's been doing the same material for, like, 30 years, probably. But just joke after joke, and every week just kills him.
Yeah, I feel like he is the most simple person to ever work in this industry. Like, I don't think he wants anything except to do stand-up
and wear the same blue
and buy
denim
cars
shirt every day
and wear denim.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've never seen someone get in and out of denim quicker than Jay Leno. Like, he was like, I swear to God, he was in denim when I showed up and he was talking to me backstage. I think, I'm not even exaggerating, 20 seconds later he was in a 3-piece suit.
Oh my gosh.
And then as soon as the show ended, like, he didn't even go backstage. He was already in denim.
Just a superhero.
Like, somehow he just gets in and out of denim quicker than I've ever seen anyone do it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to taping once, and he came out to talk to the audience real quick in denim, and went back, and in a minute,
in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah.
Amazing. And
hair's
like,
perfect.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. He's amazing. And then you did Conan, like, about a year after that?
I did Conan about a year ago, a little over a year ago.
And how was that? Was that, like, the same kind of, like, your...
Conan was weird. I was in the middle of shooting Wolf of Wall Street when I did Conan, and I hadn't done stand-up in a while, and I felt, like, really loose. Like, I felt, like, way looser doing Conan than I did The Tonight Show. And it was just a different experience. I feel like Conan, you could be a little weirder. Like, you could take your time a little more. Like, it's not as it's not as like it doesn't have the formality of doing the Tonight Show.
Right.
But yeah, Conan was cool. I didn't talk to him as much as I spoke to Leno, but I was a little more starstruck by Conan because he was like my hero growing up.
Yeah, I grew up watching late night like every day.
Oh wait, yeah, I watched Letterman and then Conan.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Does Jay Leno listen to your podcast?
No.
Okay, good.
We watched Jay too for the monologue.
Yeah. Oh, I love Jay. Great, good friend. Jay's a good friend.
Great comic, yeah. And then you were doing Wolf of Wall Street during that, and that was like you said you were working on that for like 7 months.
No, I was working on it for like 5 months.
5 months? Okay.
I was on it for the whole run of the show, and I had like a big arc. My character had a big arc, and they ended up cutting most of my shit. But I'm like in it a lot. I have some scenes where I'm speaking. And
it was
like,
what, Peter de Blasio? Was
Peter de Blasio, yeah, I was Peter de Blasio.
That's like one of my favorite movies. I love Scorsese.
I thought you were going to say that's one of your favorite characters.
No.
Peter de Blasio, man. I go as Peter him for Halloween.
Guy. Team Peter de Blasio. No, that's a great movie, and I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was pretty
cool,
cool,
man.
man.
Were you like a big Scorsese guy? Like
huge. Oh, man. And we got to talk to him a ton. I got to talk to him.
That's awesome.
And we were talking about film. And there was one point where like we were so casual talking about film that like I brought up one of his movies. And he was just kind of like, "Oh yeah, I made that." And I was like, "I forgot that you like make these movies."
Which
he's
movie
just
was
such a
it?
fun dude. Mean Streets.
Mean Streets. That's awesome. He loves comics too. Right?
He does, yeah.
He always like he had Rickles and like Alan
always
King
books comics,
and like you got Dick Smothers and Casino, just like random.
He just like he loves comedy. He's always loved comedy. He's a big laugher. Like you could crack any joke around him, and he's just like a huge laugher.
What was like one of the jokes that you would tell him to just get him going?
I remember
Were you afraid
one
to make
time
him laugh, like
for a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember during the final audition. The final audition was really strange. It was in a hotel room. Because he doesn't like going to like studios for auditions. He just likes having a real more casual vibe.
Yeah.
And we fucked, and then after we fucked, no. So yeah, he just like set up. It was him and the producer in a hotel room, like a big suite at the Gansevoort Hotel in New York. And we go up there, and he sets up a phone at a table in the room, and the idea was just pick up the phone and pretend you're pitching a client. Like, that's how I auditioned for the thing.
Wow.
And he's like, just go nuts. Just go nuts. And I did, man. I just freaked out. Like, I splashed water in someone's face. Like, I ended it by being like, I got to take a shit. And I ran into the bathroom of the hotel. Like, I had to take a shit. Yes, it was amazing. I mean, he's just a huge laugher.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think he likes comics because like
our car is starting
so
next to us.
Yeah.
Really like
We're actually taking off in the back of a pickup truck.
It'd be great if we were lying that we were outside of a diner. This is just all Foley artists, like
just
creating these sounds. Yeah.
Well, do you think he likes comics more because they like to improvise a lot, or?
Yeah, I think it's just what makes his movies, a lot of his movies, great, like Goodfellas or Casino, is they don't take themselves so seriously.
Yeah.
There's kind of like a little bit of a heightened reality to his things, and I think if you get comics who can act, you have like a little bit of levity. You know, like think about Joe Pesci, like the scene where Joe Pesci was shooting, you know, hey, get your shine box, you know that scene? If that was not a funny actor, like Joe Pesci would be the most unlikable person to ever be on screen, you know? Like Joe Pesci, like the fact that he's a funny dude, like you almost liked him, but he was a sociopath,
right?
You know?
That was an improvised scene too, right?
A lot of his shit. Oh my God, all of Wolf of Wall Street was improvised.
I read somewhere that he would just like come out and he was like, Scorsese would just come out to you guys and be like, so what are we doing in this scene?
Yeah.
Like,
no, there was no.
You just riffed
the
with
script.
him?
He just threw out the script. Like there was basically no script.
That's incredible.
Like you would just, he'd be like, what do you want to do in this scene? And he would be like, whatever it is, just make sure it's like extreme. Like everything had to be extreme.
Wow.
Like the most cursing, the being the most awful about something. Like if you were talking about drugs, it couldn't just be doing drugs. You'd have to be like doing it while choking a hooker, or like, you know, like everything had to be the most shocking.
Yeah.
Everything was just so over the top.
Right. Did he make you like read the book, or like did you get a little gist of what was going on?
I mean, I
or?
did, but he didn't make us. But like, you know,
but you
like,
knew
why
what was like
wouldn't you?
happening for like.
Oh yeah.
While it was going. Yeah.
Well, the thing was that the scenes didn't like fully make sense till I saw the cut. It was just like a lot of craziness. And then you see the cut and you're like, oh, I see where everything fit.
Right.
But they cut out so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like there was one plane orgy scene, like where we're on a jumbo jet.
I saw that you're in one of the snapshot. Like,
Yeah. And there's like an orgy on an airplane, and that was, I mean, the way they shot it, I was like, this is gonna be like an hour-long orgy scene. Like there was so many things. They shot one of me like getting choked with a belt on this thing, and then turbulence hits, and I'm like fucking a girl, and we fall over together. It's like there were so many moments, but they end up showing like 20 seconds of it.
Wow. And was this just a plane like out in a studio, like?
Oh yeah, they built it in a soundstage in Brooklyn.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they just built the fuselage of a plane,
and the turbulence was all just like hydraulics and stuff like that? Or?
No, we had to just fake it. Like the camera would move.
Oh, like Star Trek? You just had to like roll with the turn.
The camera would move, and we would have to go whoa, and you'd be like fall to the left, and we'd fall to the left. Yeah, no, nothing. Very little of this film. Actually, I'm gonna say none of this film was filmed outside of New York.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Like even the scenes in Italy, the boat scene was on a soundstage.
Wow.
where the yacht
with
was,
the helicopter.
With the helicopter was on a soundstage.
That's crazy.
Or they filmed outdoors on the actual ocean in New York.
Wow.
The wedding Bahamas scene was in Long Island.
I was gonna ask you, where was that?
Yeah, it was all in New York. The whole thing was in New York.
That's incredible. And like, did you get to like hang out with like the other, like, cause Jonah Hill's in it, and like.
Oh yeah, man.
There's some other.
We
were there other comics that were like doing? Those?
Yeah, I was part of a crew. We kind of booked the roles at the same time. It was me, Henry Zabrowski, who's like a New York comic and improviser, sketch guy, really funny. This guy PJ Byrne, who played Rugrat, who's the guy with the wig in the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. He's a comic too?
He's a comic actor.
Okay.
Like he does mostly comedy. He was in Horrible Bosses. He had a funny scene in Horrible Bosses. And Brian Sacca, who's also a comic actor, and Ethan Suplee, who's like, you might know him as the guy in Mallrats, like the heavier guy in Mallrats.
Oh yeah.
And he was in My Name Is Earl.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that guy.
Who is he in Wolf of Wall Street?
He plays Toby, who's like Leonardo DiCaprio's muscle.
Oh yeah, with the mustache. And,
with the mustache, and then Kenny Choi was another guy in our group, and then Jonah.
Nice.
And that was like we would all do everything together.
That's
I mean,
cool.
Jonah obviously did more stuff without us, but like that was like the crew. Like our trailers were together. Like it was just like we're hanging out all the time.
And it's just 5 months, like.
It was for a long time, on and off. We just would get together. Like at some point, we started to like become the characters. Like we would go out and drink, and just like go nuts and like start cursing out women for no reason.
Just turn into a bunch of method actors.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was crazy, crazy experience.
And you're also working on this movie called Hungry. You co-directed it.
Oh, it's out. It's out. It's on iTunes and Hulu and Amazon and all that shit. It'll be on Netflix at some point.
I saw a trailer for it. It looked really interesting.
Yeah, man. That took like 4 years. That movie was nuts.
And you guys just interviewed like all the...
Well, it started out, we were just going to do like a funny doc about eaters.
I should explain. It's a documentary about competitive eating. And it's like all those guys like Kobayashi.
Yeah,
and
my fans know. It's fine. You don't need to. So it was about competitive eating. And eventually, like, in the early stages of a shooting, Kobayashi gets arrested at the Nathan's hot dog event, and we're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. And
that's what the documentary started to become about, because then he actually gave us like crazy access to his life.
What did he get arrested for?
He was in a contract negotiation with Major League Eating, that's like the sanctioning body.
Yeah.
And they're very abusive, they're financially abusive to their eaters, and he kind of wanted out, and they were like, well, if you want out, you cannot compete at the Nathan's contest, but he showed up anyway, and they had him arrested.
Oh my god.
For trespassing.
There's a National League of competitive...
Major League Eating. And they're like evil.
Really?
That's what a lot of our doc is about. They're kind of like the fucking... They're like
FIFA
Darth Vader of competitive eating. They're really bad.
That's
and
crazy.
They get these eaters in crazy contracts where they can't get out of it. And so, yeah, we kind of exposed a lot of that. And we followed around him and 2 other guys for a year. And it's nuts. Yeah, it's wacky. It's gross. A lot of it's really gross. Like, it's pretty graphic.
Well, it's about like how they train and like they drink like gallons of water before they eat to like
to
loosen
stretch their
stomachs.
Yeah.
That's crazy, and it's obviously horrible, like for them, like their stomachs get...
Well, there was a lot of doctors were like, the body can withstand a ton of stuff. Like, you don't have to. These guys don't eat like that all the time, and their bodies can bounce back. But you don't know the long-term effects. Like, a lot of the really successful ones are skinny and in good shape and don't have any real health problems. But you never know. They were like, how far can you push it? Like, maybe at some point you could tear the lining of your stomach and die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Extreme.
Yeah, but
like pressure.
The thing is, they don't have major health problems. So
yeah, I looked at the trailer and they all like lift up their shirt at one point. They all have 6-packs like after they eat the
No, it was actually
dogs.
proven that if you have fat, your belly can't expand as well.
That's
if
crazy.
you have fat.
Yeah.
So these guys try and like they even have a theory. It's called the belt of fat theory. Like that's why the thinner guys can expand their stomachs more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because Kobayashi's like not a very big guy at all. Like
he's tiny.
He's like super scrawny and like yeah, that's crazy.
He's like jacked. He's like in good shape.
Was he a cool guy?
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't speak English really.
Oh, okay.
But so he has a translator. But he's like, he gave us access to, he's kind of like an artist. Like a lot of these guys were more blue collar, kind of football watching dudes that go out to these contests and eat a bunch. But this guy is like, he hangs out with like the intelligentsia of Japan. Like he hangs out with like famous ballet artists.
Wow.
And he goes to like the fanciest martini bars in New York. Like he's like,
it's the art of
he's like how
eating.
you would he's like a famous architect almost. Like
That's crazy,
people treat him like he's like one of the really highbrow artists from Japan. Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. The guy said you were gone.
Some old guy.
Some old guy just came out and goes, "Sorry that I took a whiz." That was it.
And now he's lifting his pants up as he walks away. And Variety named you like one of the top 10 comics to look out for
last year.
Yeah. And you were on that with like Adam Devine, Michael Che,
Dan St. Germain,
Brent Morin,
Jenny Slate, and a few other people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
That,
yeah, my mom thought it was really cool.
Did that do stuff like for like when you're going out to
it
clubs
got me a
and
bunch
stuff?
of meetings. I mean, after all the Wolf of Wall Street and all that stuff, like, I feel like you can get more auditions and meetings and stuff. I got on an NBC show and then it got canceled or didn't get picked up.
What show was it?
I shot a pilot I was actually the lead in a pilot for NBC from the guy who made Borat and Ali G, the guy who wrote it with Sacha Baron Cohen, this guy Dan Mazer.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, he had this crazy, funny pilot called Love is Relative, and we shot it a few months ago, and then NBC was like, nope.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
but I went, we went through the whole process, and it was crazy. Like, I'd never
what,
been...
determines that it gets picked up?
At some point, they're just like, no, we're not going to pick it up.
It doesn't have anything to do with viewership, does it, at that early stage?
Well, they have focus groups and stuff, but I heard it tested really well.
That's
you
so
never
strange,
know. Yeah.
Those guys...
I mean, I was amazing in it. I was so funny.
Can we see the pilot anywhere? Is it like
No. Maybe one day it'll be released. Yeah. It was really funny.
Dang, man, I wish that was
right?
through. Yeah.
I know, me too, man.
Sounds like it would have been awesome.
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah. And then Comedy Central, you're doing a half-hour special for them this year? You're one of like the 15 that were chosen to do their half-hour show.
Probably in a few months.
Have you taped it already? Or?
No.
No, okay.
Well, because the NBC pilot, I couldn't tape it a few months ago because I was doing that.
Right.
But I'm going to tape it again next year.
Cool. Where are you taping it at?
Probably Boston. I feel like that's where people do it now. That's where they tape them.
Yeah.
And I just sold a show to Comedy Central.
Wow, really?
Plug that.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
What's the name of the show?
Barry's Last Days.
Barry's Last Days. What's it about?
Look out for it. I play a guy, basically like a version of myself, and I find out that I might get diabetes in the next few years, and I feel like that's a death sentence. So I like live my life out to the fullest, like as if I'm dying, and try and do good things for myself and other people, but it's just really selfish. It's just like really selfish stuff. Kind of like an Eastbound and Down type thing.
Oh, man, I love that show. That's great. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
When are you starting taping for that one?
Oh, I don't know. We're still in the script phase.
Script phase? Okay,
yeah, but...
Cool. Are you writing it mostly yourself?
I'm writing it with a guy named Danny Solomon, who's another comedian. Okay. Really funny guy.
Yeah.
And,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
cool.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. What are you doing?
I'm doing nothing. This is it.
No.
This is the highlight.
No, only, in the last, You do nothing for a long time, and then all of a sudden you have like 3 things you're working on.
Yeah.
at the same time, and you have no time for anything, and then you'll have periods of time where you don't do anything for a month and you want to kill yourself. Sorry, too soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's all promising stuff. I hope it's good.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be shot around here in LA, or is it gonna be based in New York?
Hopefully LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's
like
gonna be LA.
Eastbound and Down too. That's awesome.
Like Eastbound and Down meets Barry Rothbart.
Rothbart.
It's basically copying Eastbound and Down.
That's so cool.
Ripping it off.
Well, like to go back a little bit.
No.
How long? No, we can't go back.
No, we've gone too far.
Well, hypothetically, when you started comedy, how old were you when you started comedy?
Hypothetically,
yeah.
When I started comedy.
If we can't.
I mean, does anyone start comedy?
I guess.
Kind of just do comedy.
It just happens.
When I was born, maybe.
Well, when were you like really interested in comedy?
I did my first show when I was 18. I did in Massachusetts. I was going to college there, and it was actually the day after September 11th.
Oh wow!
It was September 12th, 2001, and I had always wanted to do stand up, and I just kind of called like a bunch of clubs and was like, "Hey, can I do a show? Like, I want to do stand up." And one place was like, "Yeah, if you bring 4 people, it's called a bringer show."
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to bring 4 people. I'm just going to pay for admission. And I got there, and they were like, no, you can't do that. You have to still. So I had to get a bunch of people from like a hotel lobby. I'm like, I'll pay your admission. Can you come see? I got like 2 people, and they were like, all right, we'll put you up last. And it was weird because it was right after September 11th.
Were there a lot of people at the comedy club?
A lot of people. Yeah, there was a ton of people.
Wow.
At that time, it wasn't called September 11th. It was just like the thing that happened yesterday. Yeah. And they were like, don't talk about it. Whatever you do not bring it up. And I don't know, it was weird. I bombed really bad. It's like the strangest thing is you write all this stuff like leading up to your first stand-up gig, and then you end up being like, none of it works.
Right.
You know? And you just, like, after I got through 3 drugs, I was like, I just got to riff. And then that made it even worse. And it's strange because you hear your own voice through the speakers. Like, that's the weirdest part about doing stand-up for the first time is, like, I remember hearing my own voice come through the speakers, and I was like, that's what I sound like? You know, like when you hear your voice on an answering machine?
Yeah. Just ruins your
day. I was like, that's gross. Yeah. I can't believe I sound like that.
Did you get heckled or anything?
I did. At some point, I was like, I brought up Bill Buckner, like who was the baseball player for the Red Sox, and he like lost them the World Series in '86.
Right.
A lot of people know about it, but I don't know why I did it. I was like, and everyone was like, boo! I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, which is the worst way to handle people booing when you're a comic is just being like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. And then I didn't do it again for like a year almost.
Yeah.
And then I started again in 2003, really.
Okay.
Like to really do it for real. So I've been doing it for like 11 years.
11 years?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And you were already in a Scorsese movie and
already.
You have a show on Comedy Central. That's amazing.
It's weird. I feel like in stand-up, if you started younger than 25, I feel like a lot of those years are a waste because you don't even know who you are yet.
Right.
Like, I feel like I would have done it. Like, I think when you start later, you have a quicker ascent because you know who you are a little more. You have a point of view. It's like, what the fuck is a 21-year-old going to talk about?
Exactly.
You know? What do they know? How old are you?
22.
Yeah. So it's like, but that's when you become funny. So you have a jump on everyone. That's why a lot of people who start young can make it at a younger age because they've like learned how to be funny, and then they get a little older and they have an opinion about the world. And then all of a sudden, they could start getting things.
No, I did the huge mistake of trying to do like a political, topical joke one time, and I did like a whole set. I was like, I'm just gonna do like monologue topical jokes, and I went out and I started like making fun of like this and that, and the whole crowd was just like, oh god, this kid, like what does he know? Like,
and how long have you been doing stand-up?
I've been doing it maybe like a year, like on and off, and like I did actually had the same situation where I started like when I was like 19. And then did horrible. Like, it was the worst set. It was at this place where, like, people threw bottles at the wall, like, if they didn't like you. It was, like, the roughest. It was like the cantina from Star Wars, essentially. It was so bad. And I went on at, like, midnight. Nobody was there. There's 2 drunk girls left in the back, and they both heckled me at the same time.
No.
It was just worse. So I just, took a year off after that, and I try to, like, come back at it. But, yeah.
I think when you're, like,
finding your voice
people can make it at young ages.
The issue. Like,
like, I remember John Mulaney when he started. I was in New York. Like we started. I think he started a little bit before me, or like around the time I started. And I remember with him, it was just like he had such a quick rise.
Yeah.
Because he just like figured out something about himself at a young age.
That's crazy.
I think it's so rare. Like, I still don't, I haven't figured out most of the things in my life.
Yeah.
But some people can just, like, figure out their voice, figure out their point of view, and they're really smart, and, like, they could just put it all together really young, whereas I definitely couldn't.
Yeah, that's, like, my problem, like, finding your voice and, like, what am I going to say?
Yeah,
like a crowd.
And I think the only way, and, like, when comics go, like, what do I do? Like, give me advice. It's like, just do every show.
Right.
Like, do 17 shows a night. Like, seriously, that's the only way. Some car almost skid out there.
Scraped
Some
everything.
really nice bends. I think, the only is just do every fucking show. Like, fuck up so many times. That's the only way to figure it out. Yeah, I really think so.
The best was watching, like, a clip of Louis C.K. on YouTube when he was, like, 20.
Yeah.
And he's doing, like, dolphin jokes and, just random absurd stuff. And
of course. He did that until 5 years ago, 4 years ago. He did, yeah.
And then Shameless and everything came out,
Right? Like, he was just doing random jokes about whatever.
That's awesome, yeah. And then, so you started when you were around, like, 18, and you did a little bit through college?
Yeah. I guess I didn't go full steam until I was maybe 20.
What'd you major in college?
Finance, and then I went into film production.
Okay.
And drama.
Nice.
But it was a waste, man. Fucking college was such a waste.
I did the business route too. It did not pay off.
It was, and then doing film is a waste. You know, it's like you don't learn anything about making movies unless you watch a ton of movies all the time and also fuck up a lot. Like, get on a set and just, like, try and shoot something. And everything I learned with, like, shooting things was just from trying it out and failing. And editing my own things together. Like, you could take 1,000 film theory. Like, basically what film school does is it just, like, forces you to make a film at the end of the semester and tells you, like, what a gaffer does. You know, like, that's really, it's like not.
What does a gaffer do?
I don't know. It's stupid. It's like film school was such a waste. Unless you're going to NYU or USC where you make a bunch of connections.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just a waste, man.
Useless.
I went to Hofstra.
Oh, nice.
And it was like, nice. It's like, Hofstra is the biggest meathead school.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I love Hofstra, and, you know, they're awesome. If anyone from Hofstra's listening. Yeah, it was just like, I felt like it was a waste. It was, you know, it just forces you to do something. But if you can self-start anyway, it's like, don't put the amount of money you're going to put into college. Like, put it into a film.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to put 20 grand into college,
you can buy a camera and everything.
Buy equipment, like, buy your own shit and just make your own shit, you know?
Exactly.
I think.
And then, so you started, when you first started out, were you, like, writing the jokes out, like, word for word? Or do you still do that? Like, what's your writing process? Like, do you work on stuff when you're on stage? Or?
I have a team of writers that get together before every show, and I just give them what I did that day, and they come up with something, and then I say that. Yeah. I've never written anything, really.
Really?
No, yeah, no.
No.
I did. I started out writing out every word of jokes, and then I realized that's insane, because comedy is conversation.
Right.
You know, it's like it's not a monologue. You know, you're not writing dialogue for a scene. And, like, if you go into a conversation with someone, you don't have a scripted conversation, right? I mean, you kind of just, like, have bullet points of what you want to talk about, and then you talk. Unless you're, like, a one-liner comic, then you have to craft every word of it. But I was never a one-liner guy. So I just figured out at some point that, like, the best way to sound conversational on stage is to just pretend you're having a conversation with the audience and just say certain bullet points of jokes that you want to hit and then work them out. And it took me years to figure that out.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so you just work on stuff on stage, and do you remember, like, your first joke that really, like, worked for you, like, or like just
my first joke that worked was, I said, because I was kind of chubby, I was, like, really chubby, and I would go, I'm kind of fattish, like, not fat but fattish, like the kind of the point where blankets don't fit you anymore. And that was, like, I remember being like, wow, that's an amazing joke.
Yeah.
Like, God, I wrote the best joke ever. I think I did it for, like, a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it totally killed, like, the first time you did it.
I guess so, yeah.
That's so cool.
And then at some point I started to, like, I was listening. I think a lot of comics become derivative of comics they like because they listen to their albums too much.
Right.
And I listened to Dave Attell's Skanks for the Memories maybe 1,000 times in a month.
That's yeah.
And I started doing Dave Attell, which I think so many comics, like there's guys out there now. There's, like, the Mitch Hedberg guys who do Hedberg. There was the Dane Cook guys for a while who just basically ripped off Dane Cook. Now there's a lot of Jesselnicks.
I see a lot of Aziz guys.
A lot of Aziz guys
yelling
and kind of
oh no,
talking about rappers.
Yeah.
So I was Dave Attell, and then someone luckily came up and was like, "You're doing Dave Attell, man. You can't do that." And I was like, "Oh no, I wasn't." And then I went home and I was like, "I got to rethink everything."
Wow. So you just had to how do you find your voice after that? Just go back up and.
I think the truth is you steal a bunch of people's voices without realizing it, and you make a conglomeration that no one could recognize. Eventually,
and it becomes your own. Yeah.
And it becomes you.
It's
like
we
music
all too. Yeah,
we're all on the shoulders of giants, right?
Exactly.
Like we're all nothing comes out of a vacuum. Like
you
you're
learn
inspired.
a Hendrix lick, a Keith Richards lick, and then you become your,
you become your own thing.
John Mayer, or whatever.
Yeah. And then eventually, you figure out what makes you funny. What makes one person funny doesn't make someone else funny, and you figure that out. And eventually, you hope that it translates on stage.
And then, do you remember one of the best shows? What's the best show that you've ever had? In the early days, or just in general?
2004. The best show I ever had. I mean, I remember the highest stakes show I ever did. I remember it was in Montreal doing New Faces.
Oh wow!
Which is I don't know if your listeners know what that is, but it's do you know what it is? New Montreal Just for Laughs is the bigger festival that people go out to.
Which year were you at Montreal?
I did 2011. I was a New Face.
Okay.
And that's the biggest stepping stone for a new comic, where you go from kind of level 0 to level 4 in your career.
Yeah.
That gets you an agent or a manager, blah, blah, blah.
And everybody's there, all the best.
Well, yeah, at this point they were picking, I think at that point there was only 12 or 14 New Faces. Now there's 40.
Oh, wow.
Now there's New Faces on Rep, New Faces characters, New Faces, whatever. So it was huge. It was huge. It was a huge deal. And I had auditioned 4 years in a row, and I was I'm never going to get it. Finally I get it. And then the first show they throw you into is in this giant theater. There's maybe 300, 400 people, and they're all industry. It's basically everyone that you're ever going to be hired, but who's ever going to hire you for
NBC,
your career.
Comedy
Everybody,
Central,
every agent, every manager, everyone in the industry is there, and no one tells you this. And you're kind of just working on this 5-minute set forever, and you just have to go up cold. And I went first, I remember.
Oh my god!
You just have to kind of do your set for
you
everyone.
Opened the 15
I opened
comics?
it.
Oh my god!
And it was just randomized. But the first show, I remember, it was just
how'd you
stakes.
do?
It was great. I did really well.
That's
luckily,
awesome.
I was but it was the stakes were so high. And then I feel the next few shows weren't as good, but it wasn't as important as the first show.
Right.
But I was so fucking nervous.
Did you get to meet any of your heroes or anything when you were there?
Tom Green.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, man. Louis was there. Anderson. NCK. Who's there that year? Tina Fey was there that year. And it's weird. You just hang out at this place called the Hyatt.
2011 or something.
Yeah, I think so.
That's so cool. Yeah.
You just hang out at this hotel that everyone goes to.
The Hyatt?
And you just you hang out with agents and managers, and it's just every part of it's so intense.
That's so cool. So it's just a comic-filled hotel.
It's just a comic-filled hotel for a week.
That's so cool.
It's really rad, yeah.
Have you been going to Montreal since, or?
Yeah, I went again.
How does it work? Do they invite you?
Last
Do you go, or
Oh, they invite you, yeah.
They invite you?
I did a taping for HBO Canada last year called Funny as Hell.
Oh, cool.
Hosted by John Doerr, who's a really funny comic.
John Doerr's great.
John Doerr's
I saw him
amazing.
at the Punchline too, actually.
Yeah, he's great. And I don't know. Yeah, I taped a set for HBO Canada, and I never heard from it. It's probably out there somewhere. I have no idea.
Just repeating on HBO Canada all day. Yeah.
It's really cool. It's like sleepaway camp for comics.
That's so cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Who are some of your influences when you were a kid, or?
Dave Attell.
Besides
I was really
Attell.
more influenced by sketch than stand-up.
SNL and
SNL. One of the biggest things was Mr. Show in my life,
yeah.
which is the HBO series Bob and David.
David
Cross and Bob Odenkirk. And that, man, I was I got to get into comedy. That was the coolest. As far as stand-up, I feel I watched so much stand-up, but I was never I feel everybody goes Richard Pryor, or I was more influenced by actors like Will Ferrell and the SNL people, and Adam Sandler was a huge influence on me. As far as stand-ups though, the classic ones, Steve Martin was always amazing to me. I like that silly stuff more than the Carlin or the Pryor where you tell it like it is.
Right.
Like I've always been more silly.
No, I grew up with Sandler too.
Yeah, it was like silly.
Favorite.
It was just stupid.
How the
Yeah. I still love it, man. Someone once said that like everyone's favorite class of SNL was when you were 14 or like 13 or 14. Like when you were a kid, that's your favorite class.
When I was 13, 14, it was going through that like rough patch, I think. But I grew up when I was like 7 or 8 when they were doing Sandler and Farley and like Chris Rock and all.
What's your favorite year? What's your favorite class of stand-up?
Oh man.
Of like, who were the cast members when your favorite year?
It was definitely like Sandler, Farley, like Colin Quinn as Weekend Update, and like.
But I feel if you speak to younger kids, like there's like the Will Ferrell, Norm Macdonald. Well, Norm Macdonald was back then, but like Will Ferrell, Tina Fey.
Fallon was best with Ferrell when they were doing like the
Parnell.
Hot Tubs sketches and like Jimmy just couldn't even hold a straight face.
Yeah, he made a living by not being able to commit to anything.
Everybody was like, "Why don't you fire him?" And Lauren was like, "Well, he's not doing it on purpose." So like he just kept him like the whole time. Thanks. But yeah, like Mike Myers was great.
Mike Myers was amazing, man.
All those guys.
He did the British kid who was in the bathtub, Simon.
Oh yes,
that was like one of the coolest. I remember I used to say, "Hello, my name is Simon." I always did that. Yeah.
Mike was great, and then Wayne's World was in and everything. Yeah. No, yeah. When I was a teenager, I was going through some weird like they were firing everybody, and then they brought like everybody back.
Like now.
Yeah, and it's like going through that same loop again. But
yeah.
Did you ever want to do SNL?
Oh yeah, I still do.
Still do? Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I had like 4 friends that got it last year.
Ooh.
I was so jealous. Well, Brooks Wheelan is like, he was recently fired from it, but he was one of the cast members this past season, and we did sketch together out here for a long time.
Oh wow, yeah.
We did videos and stuff, and he was like one of my best friends, and he just like
he
got it actually from doing Montreal. Right? No, that was the Good Neighbor guys. That was Kyle Mooney and Beck Bennett went to USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you know those guys too?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I had a sketch group in New York, The Straight Men, and we used to open for them.
Oh man.
Yeah, we were not very good. We were like, we just would fuck around.
Who'd you do The Straight Men with?
It was me, Nick Turner, who's a comic in New York, and this guy, Mike Ennis, and then Rob O'Reilly were 2 guys that were in it. But we were just, we just wanted to be weird.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't put a lot of thought into it. Like, we would have whole sketches where we just kind of, like, made noises and, like, rolled on the ground. Like, it was very avant-garde. And, yeah, we opened for them a few times.
And then Good Neighbor would go on.
Yeah, because I knew Nick Rutherford from years ago, who was one of the Good Neighbor guys.
Yeah.
And we opened for them, and they were just amazing. Like, they just blew. Like, we were like, what are we doing? We're just, like, idiots. And they like have like fully
watch all the Good Neighbors in high school and like quote it, and everyone's like, it was even weird to quote Good Neighbor because we were like, what are these guys talking about? Like it was so like out there, like comedy. But it was so brilliant. Like
it was brilliant. And it took them forever to finally get recognition.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, once I saw that they all got signed, I was like, oh, finally, like the comedy
that
I'm really into.
It's like a no-brainer. Like being on SNL. Yeah.
So you definitely want to do something like a sketch group or something like that again?
I've always wanted, like, I always did stand-up, but I always like also have been combining it with acting or writing or sketch or shooting, like, because I don't know, stand-up gets fucking brutal. It's just after a while, it's just doing stand-up is tough for me.
Right.
Like,
I do really appreciate the comics that can go and like do both and act and then like be hilarious like at a club or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how well I do
in,
it,
like
but
Wolf
like
of Wall Street and like and then watch you like on Conan like right afterwards. It's like really cool. And then maybe just last couple questions. What was the worst set that you ever had?
I once did a set in New Jersey at this place called Images, which is a terrible dive bar. And it was during Game 7 of the World Series where the Yankees were playing. I don't remember who they were playing. And they shut off the TVs and were like, all right, comedy's starting. And I had to host it. And people were just like, fuck you! Get the fuck out! Like, people were so fucking mad. There was only like 4 people there, too. You imagine they were all there to watch the game, and they shut off the games and were like, here's stand-up comedy. And I remember the guy who owned the place had like a really bad black eye. Like, he came there and his like one of his eyes like he just got punched a few hours ago. I was like, and we were all like, what happened to you? And he was like, don't worry about it. Like, let's get it was the most Jersey. Like, everyone in there looked like a Bruce Springsteen video. It was crazy.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And it just Did you guys do your whole sets? Like,
yeah.
People leave, or
well,
like,
people got really mad. Yeah, no, we didn't do our whole. Like, I got like halfway through mine.
Yeah.
And then people started like really complaining, and then eventually they turned it on. But it was brutal.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Try any crowd work like at that point.
Yeah. Hey, what are you guys doing?
What are you guys?
What are you guys wearing? Yankees jerseys? What's with all the Yankees jerseys?
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this. Had a great time.
I appreciate it, man.
Barry Rothbart, you can catch him at the Sacramento Punchline.
Oh, yeah. When is this airing?
30th and 31st.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Labor Day
Monday,
weekend.
This Monday.
Oh, it's coming out Monday.
Yeah. Do you have any shows next week down here?
Well, I could also, I guess, promote. I'm doing. Hungry is screening at the Silent Film Theater, Cine Family, on August as part of the Everything Is Terrible Festival. I don't know if you know those Everything Is Terrible guys. It's this festival that's going to be out here. So
when are you
Saturday the 30th at noon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to be there?
I'll be there. Yeah.
Okay,
so is
cool.
Kobayashi. He'll be there too.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be there then. Very
cool. Yeah. Come by. I'll get you seats.
And Labor Day weekend at Punchline in Sacramento for all my buddies who live up there.
Yeah.
Definitely come and catch him out. Really funny guy. Thank you so much, Barry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.